American Financing, saving homeowners over $800 every month by using your home's equity to pay off high-interest debt. American Financing, America's home for home loans. AmericanFinancing.net/progress. Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network. You are famously, in case people don't know, a Republican that worked in the Trump administration. And we were talking a little bit off air, but you have to say it is the Republicans that are speaking here, including Stephanie Grisham last night,
yes,
are really triggering the right. And you were saying that you are getting swatted, that they are really attacking the Republicans that are speaking here.
Yeah, I think they're clearly very angry, and they don't really like truth tellers, as you know. And really, I think all of us feel like that's what we're doing. All we're doing is telling the truth and standing up for our country. And I know that several members of Republicans for Harris have been swatted. I know I've had conversations with my local law enforcement to make sure that they're aware that this is happening in preparation. But I think that's a sign of the times. And I think when you hear that, I think contrast that to the vision and the hope and the happiness right now at this convention with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Like, I look at, what does the future look like? Is it more hate, anger, divisiveness under Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, who hates women and reminds us of that every single day?
Yeah.
Or is it coming together, actually unifying and making a difference for each other and standing by each other?
Yeah.
And,
it's so much nicer here. Stay with us. Come to the light. I've never been able to physically assault you and bring you.
Stop it. Stop assaulting the guests.
When they get rid of Trump and they get their party back, stay with us. You're so awesome. It's so much more fun over here. We have a DJ for roll call.
I can tell. That was amazing.
That was so cool.
We have DJs and laughter.
It was like, take down for what? I was like, woo!
Yeah.
My husband was like,
go Lil Jon.
whoa, okay.
And he was a contestant on the 4th season of Celebrity Apprentice, so this was his way of turning
This was his
full circle.
That's right.
But Olivia, we've talked about this. What do you make of it's Republicans that worked in the Trump administration, like you, like Stephanie Grisham, like how many others are the ones speaking the loudest and warning us?
Yeah, it's unprecedented, right?
Yeah, I mean, since when did Mike? I mean, was it Jamie Raskin that said, hey, J.D. Vance, you're only there because they tried to hang the last guy? I mean, your boss, Mike Pence, nowhere to be found, right? Hardly anybody in the cabinet.
Yeah, I mean, never in, I think, the history of our country has there been so many former cabinet officials and people that worked in an administration saying, hey, this is really bad. You cannot reelect this man. He is of danger to our country. And we give specific, concrete examples of what that is because we lived it. Right? We saw it firsthand. We witnessed it. And so what we're saying is, he pretends like he cares about the working class. He pretends that he cares about his supporters. And I've got to be honest, for me, the most frustrating and thing that makes me so irate is how disparaging he is towards them when he talks about them.
Right.
And yet they show up to his rallies and they absolutely adore him. They're all in. And I'm just like, God, they deserve better as Americans.
Yeah, as people, just as humans.
Yes.
Stephanie Grisham took us behind that curtain. Just that, he behind closed doors, he makes fun of them. He says they're basement dwellers. They're this, they're that.
I was there where he was like, I don't want to shake these disgusting people's hands. Like,
wow.
That's how he refers to them. And I'm just like, those disgusting people are your voters. They're our neighbors. They're our friends. Like, we know these people, right? I mean, so having a president of the United States at the time. Say that.
Yeah, it
speaks volumes about what kind of person he is.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and we've been talking about that. He's reportedly going behind. Everybody's back to Netanyahu to get him not to have a ceasefire, so that because it would help Kamala Harris. And you're just like, this man is a traitor. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, I think he's also in violation of one of our acts. But when he's doing that, because he should not be trying to dictate foreign policy as someone who is not currently a member of the federal government or in any serving in any capacity in the administration. But I think that tells you he's not actually rooting for America, right? He's undermining
absolutely
our country. He's undermining the leadership of our country, which should not be happening at all. I mean,
It's so interesting. I was just reading this Lincoln Project, speaking of Republicans.
Yeah.
They said, after careful consideration, the Lincoln Project has decided we will not be pulling down our ad as Donald Trump demanded we do. Also, we've decided to point and laugh at him while he cries. I mean, there is something, but you were saying, like, Laura Loomer, the far-right lunatic, is, like, going after Stephanie Grisham after last night. They're coming after you. Like, it is, but it's always so mean and so personal.
It is.
Which is why what you're doing is effective.
Yeah, and, I think to me that speaks volumes really about them.
Sure.
And also think about that, right? Like, the way women are talking about us, about other women, right? I mean, and the demeanor there, I think, speaks a lot to their lack of character and lack of, I would say, like, integrity or even, like, just general humanity.
Can you share what you texted to Stephanie Grisham last night? Because it's such a sweet sisterhood moment.
Yes. Well, so I said to her, she said, we were tracking what was happening, and they were making comments about her and her appearance and her physicality, and I was just like, no. And I was like, okay, let's all remember that this is a delusional conspiracy theory mongering person who, I mean, frankly, she's nuts.
Yeah.
And she's not, like, we talked about this, like, she's not even, I mean, even people on the right. Yeah. Some people on the right wing themselves are like, yeah, she's too much. She's over the top.
But you were saying that Stephanie was saying, I'm, gained a little weight with menopause and they're going to go. And, like, sure enough, they went after.
Did.
And it's just, but the fact that you reached out to see that she was okay. And I did that with JoJo from Jurors, our friend, because I'm just like, they say the meanest, most vicious things. And sometimes as human beings, you just want to go, are you okay? Yeah. Don't take this in.
And it's hard. It is hard to tune out all of that, right? Because it's hard for it not to actually get under your skin. Now, I mean, you feel it. You know that people are talking about it. You see the photos circulating around social media. You're getting the DMs. Poor Stephanie. I mean, I got one very special one. I think we've been called Judas, C words.
Sure.
That's lovely.
Yeah. So that tells you kind of the dynamic here of what some of these people really stand for and who they really are.
You know what President Obama said last night? I'm so struck by what he said, and it reminded me of people like you, that because he always calls us to our better angels.
Yes.
And it's people like you that, you got to go, let's stop demonizing each other. Like, when I've met you and talked to you, and I'm sure we don't agree still a lot of stuff politically, but you're such a lovely human being. And I think that's what President Obama was trying to say to us, is like, call us to our better angels, that it didn't used to be like this, so mean and divisive. And I put a lot of that at Trump's feet.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. I mean, a lot of the fear mongering that they do and they did when he was in office is because they want that. They want to sow the division because he thinks it gets more attention for him and it drives this, right? I mean, that's why what he just spoke at the same site where they did a KKK rally. They know exactly what they're doing. I picture Stephen Miller with his little whiteboard, with mapping it out and being like, okay, now we're going to hit this little area because that's where my people are on the right wing. And Trump's like, oh, as long as I get attention, that's fine. I can tell you, it's got to be killing him. Watching the speeches on stage, I know that he is so mad. He probably wants to be speaking here. I can tell you that right now. He probably wants to be there, and he's like, "Why am I not getting attention?" I'm like, "Well, because back in the day, you were actually a Democrat back in the day.
Right.
Now you've decided that you're co-opting the Republican Party and not doing anything that actually is Republican in it. But
that's the point.
It's killing him."
But we were just saying, it's just we can say it till we're blue in the face, but it's just this is not McCain, my dad, Goldwater, Reagan, Bush. It's not even Bush's Republican Party anymore.
We've come so far from that. And I always, I think about, I was just talking to someone and I was like, we've gone from a party. I've been talking to some Latino stations and we've gone from a party where George W. Bush painted portraits of immigrants, right? He did an immigrant portrait book where he was honoring immigrants in this country. And he has said that not fixing the immigration system was one of his biggest failures. He's publicly stated that. We've gone from that to basically using immigrants as a fear-mongering tool, disparaging them consistently, using these racist, dangerous narratives like the Great Replacement Theory that drive dangerous events, right? They drive the things like the El Paso shooting. I mean, and when I look at the Republican Party, I'm like, it's completely lost its way.
Sure.
And by the way, give him credit. I'm not a Bush fan. I mean, not that kind.
Stop it. Oh my God.
What? But he did say it first. He said that was some weird S. about Trump's inauguration
Yes,
speech to
yes.
Hillary. He just leaned over and said, "That was a weird ass."
Yep.
He's just weird. They're
Yeah.
just weird.
But to that point, I think we're getting the threats and we're getting the disparaging comments because as part of Republicans to Harris. But here's the thing: they all know that what we're saying is the truth.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And
That's
some
why
of
it
these
bothers
people have
them
said
so
it.
much.
Yes.
That's why it
And,
triggers them. Yeah.
And you know that behind closed doors, they've said the same things.
Yeah.
They've thought the same things. They also lived it.
Yeah.
They've seen it. They know that all we're doing is
Yeah.
saying publicly and warning people about what they all have witnessed.
Yeah. Well, Olivia, I keep saying that Tim Walz, I think, framed it so perfectly. Mind your own damn business.
Yes.
We might have differences with our neighbors, but and that's what the Republican Party used to stand for.
Yes, it used to be individual privacy liberties.
Yeah.
Now it's Project 2025 government overreach, and we want to track everything that you're doing, and we want to make sure that it's in line with what we envision to
Yeah.
be American family values.
Yeah.
It's in our vision, an extreme vision, right?
That's why, oh my God, the Freedom ad still with Beyonce still gives me shivers because that's, what, you guys used to try to say, but we're just saying get out of our bedrooms and our doctor's office, our private lives.
Yeah, I mean, it's really about what do we want for the next, decade for our country? What's
Sure.
our vision for the future? Do
Yeah.
we want a more brighter future?
Hopeful.
Or do we want to continue down this ugly, dark spiral that, unfortunately, right now it seems like the Republican Party wants to take us down?
Yeah.
I can't imagine anyone seeing this week, Olivia, and thinking anything, spinning it, that this is not just a joyous, historic success, and that Republican convention was just a hot mess.
Well, yeah, and nowhere is it more evident when you look around here. I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the flashing lights, red, white, and blue, all America, let's
Yeah.
go together, USA signs.
Families.
Yes,
Yeah.
as opposed to mass deportations, like the ugliness that we saw there, like that is like night and day.
When you
the
hear
black
the
and white contracts.
when you hear the USA chants, you don't get that like on the back of your neck because we mean everyone. We mean
Yes.
actually what's written on the Statue of Liberty. We don't mean just white guys, which
Yeah.
is what it feels like
Yeah.
when the Trump crowd chants USA. It's
Absolutely,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
You know what the messages that I got during RNC week was? Go back. We need to deport you. Go back to your own country. I'm like, I was born here.
Yeah.
I am. My mom is a Mexican immigrant, but they're like, go back to Mexico. We don't want you here. And I'm
Wow.
thinking to myself, like, wow, you're saying this to someone who was a longtime fellow Republican
Right.
and your fellow American.
Right.
I wish Hillary didn't steal it already because they should have played Brave when you come out.
Yes.
Thank you.
Because
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you, and I just want you to. I know you're nervous, and I'm gonna
I am.
I'm gonna
You're gonna
feel
do
you.
great.
I'm
You're
gonna
gonna do
feel
great.
you. American Financing, saving homeowners over $800 every month by using your home's equity to pay off high-interest debt. American Financing, America's home for home loans. AmericanFinancing.net/progress.